Hello everyone. It's that time again. There's been another Submarine Beta Test. This is test number 3, and once again things have significantly changed. First things first, well, the reason I'm going completely underwater and not traveling on the surface is because they've entirely removed surface traveling. I will get into that in just a bit. First of all, thank you all for your support, and a reminder that tomorrow I'm doing my big Christmas giveaway. Tomorrow I'm giving away at 11 AM UTC. I'm giving away about 260 mega Christmas presents, and then about another 30 on my Discord later in the evening. As a big thank you to the community, because you guys have been great. The support for my channel this year has been really good, and Wargaming's Christmas present was kinda So, in a way to kind of make up for that and show my own appreciation, I'm gonna be giving you guys my own Christmas present out of my own pocket, which is gonna be a lot of mega Christmas presents. Moving on, submarines. Well, first things first, you see this hydro acoustic sonar, I guess, or I guess you could call it the hydrophone. You can see how it's sending out this blip. And you can actually detect other submarines underwater. You no longer just periscope, or you no longer proximity spot them, but this can actually detect other submarines. It gives you an idea of which direction it is in. Another thing is the spotting range underwater. You can see how poor it is. They have significantly changed the way spotting and detectability works for these subs. Basically, you have full control. It's no longer these set depths you can move at. You have full control at what depth you can move at. So you have more freedom underwater. The deeper you go, the worse your spotting is, aka you don't see anything. But on the other hand, you are very, very stealthy. Torpedoes can actually now be launched underwater as well. You can be fully underwater and launch your torpedoes, or you can go up to periscope level like here and launch your torpedoes. In general, it's obviously recommended to do it at periscope level because you have an easier time landing these pings because they follow the surface, whereas underwater you kind of have to aim for the hull from below, which is significantly more difficult. It's also harder to track the ping. There's two different types of pings. The first ping you saw was this small narrow ping. It's fast and it's accurate, but it's pretty hard to land. The other one is this wider, slower ping that is significantly easier to land, but it consumes a new resource, energy or battery power. Wargaming has completely done away with the old system of oxygen, and what you have now is this new battery mechanic. Now, there's two ways to recharge battery. Stationary underwater, or moving very, very slow underwater, or surfacing. If you're moving fast underwater and using pings, you will run out of battery very quickly, and then you can no longer use the pings. The first ping on the bow or stern of a ship causes your torpedoes to home in on it, basically hydroacoustic tracking of some sort. And the second ping makes them ignore the torpedo belt and actually score citadels on ships. This is... I think the damage potential here is a bit too high, and I have multiple issues with the balance of the subs, but I will be moving on to that in just a bit. So, and of course, when you do ping someone, you do show up on the minimap and on the screen as well, like this ping emo. You'll see it, I'll show it later on. Now, there's multiple issues with this ping thing. First of all, as you can see, you can actually ping ships behind islands. You can ping them over islands. Reason why this is a really, really big deal and really annoying, well, I ping a bit, I kind of figured out I could ping them here. The reason why this is kind of silly is because Wargaming has made it so that any target you ping remains visible to everyone. Not just you, but everyone can see the pinged target. Now, it's completely busted. Mostly because, well, if you ping a DD, the ping lasts 30 seconds. That DD will stay spotted for 30 seconds. And you can keep pinging him repeatedly, over and over and over and over again. You can keep pinging that DD and keep him spotted. So you basically got a permanent radar that you can just throw out on any ships. And yes, I've seen DDs actually smoke up and get pinged in the smoke and then get spotted, and then they're spotted for 30 seconds and they just get farmed. There's some glitching with the camera. I'm actually going into first person view, and for some reason it's kind of glitching. You see here, by the way, I pinged this sub and now I'm just spamming pings at him to keep him detected and keep my torpedoes tracking. He should be undetected at this point. You see my Hatsuharu actually died, so there should be absolutely nothing spotting him, but my pings are keeping him spotted, and I'm just spamming these pings over and over on him, refreshing them and keeping him detected, and more importantly, making sure my torpedoes are tracing him and tracking him towards them. So this is of course hilariously broken, like so insanely broken it's not even funny. Imagine a DD or a submarine in a division with a carrier. You ping a DD and then the guy sends rocket planes. The DD can't even smoke up to take cover from the rocket planes because the pings are keeping him spotted. Like just hilariously completely broken. So that whole ping mechanic obviously needs a big overhaul. Amusingly, I actually managed to track that guy well enough with those pings across the map that... Oh, no, did I get it? No, almost. Close, but no hits. I'm actually going to be showcasing you guys a full submarine game. This is actually a full sub game, and I think I end up killing like 3 enemy submarine players in this game. There's a lot of bots, of course, because it's the TST, the test server, but... I will be taking down a lot of other submarine players, which is a nice change because in the previous beta it was basically impossible to kill other subs unless with ramming. It was hilariously hard. There have been other changes besides the battery mechanic and be able to torpedo from basically anywhere. The other change is that light cruisers now also have access to these depth charges. I'm once again pinging over the island, trying to get the ping on this Icarus. I think I took too much lead, trying to make my torpedoes weir left. Basically, I'm torping around the island, then pinging him on the other side, trying to weir the torpedoes around. But I'm whiffing this ping. It's pretty hard to land when you can't see the ship. Anyways, light cruisers now have depth charges as well. It sounds good, and I mean, I'm glad that it's not just DDs who are able to counter. I'm glad that there's other ways to counter. But... with the way the torpedoes behave like that right now, trying to actually deal with subs in a light cruiser, unless the submarine is potato, is very difficult. Like, I've gotten killed in my Dallas trying to rush subs with Hydroactive because I literally cannot evade the torpedoes because they track me too hard. I will get into that later as well. Overall though, the visuals once again are great. The underwater world, the way you sometimes see depth charges explode, the way you dodge torpedoes or fight other subs underwater, it is pretty cool. You see, this is what I talked about, that hydroacoustic, was it hydrophone underwater? That's giving me, every time it goes out, it gives me an indication of where the sub is. You see that? Every time the wave goes out, I get an indication. So I preemptively launch both a set of torps, waiting for the hydrophone, and then I throw a ping where I saw the hydrophone. And I actually managed to score a hit. I managed to score a ping on him, I think. Oh, because yeah, it gave me target hits. I score another ping on him, and he hasn't spotted me yet. He knows I'm probably here because of the hydrophone. Sending another ping, so I get double tracking on him. And my torps actually take him down underwater. So that's something I really like. The ability to have sub versus sub counterplay. That was something that was really missing from the earlier version. There was no sub versus sub counterplay. Now, Destroyer is approaching. Obviously, I surface because I've completely run out of battery. Pinging that much underwater eats your battery really quickly. I'm sending a ping out on this guy because I want to be able to submerge while having him spotted. Trying to recharge some of that battery in the meanwhile. The T consumable is that deep dive thing, which basically what it does is it reduces the damage you take from depth charges. Obviously, I'm very worried about this DD rushing me, because a DD can easily shred me with depth charges. However, I have a ping on him, and I've sent torps out, and you can't go nose in like this, because they kind of go, they're lining up next to each other, and then they're tracking as well because of the ping, and this combination is just brutal. Especially because the damage is honestly kind of insane on these torpedoes. I think it's a bit much, because when a DD rushes a sub, you should be in huge trouble. But most of the time these days, the sub can actually take on the destroyer. And considering it already has all these advantages of stealth and such, I don't really think that should be the case at all. I will show you guys some really worrying example of how the torpedoes behave later on in this commentary. Seeing if I can ping this sub on the other side of the island. He is on the surface based on the depth. You can see the depth meter right underneath. Oh, never mind, now he's diving. He's at 15 meters, so I will no longer be able to ping him. I don't think I've actually noticed it, but I'm just gonna sit on the surface for a while, recharge my battery. You can see the battery bottom left, below the sub health. That's the battery charged. It recharges quite quickly on the surface. Note that on the surface, I think this is my full speed forward on the surface. It says stop, but you can see I'm moving forward 3.6. I think this is me going full speed forward on the surface. That 80% speed penalty on the surface is just brutal. If you want to go anywhere in a sub, you have to submerge. And that's really the way they have designed it. I guess it's an okay change because you're doing less of that mobile scouting spotting that you did. Basically, you're infringing less on the destroyer's role. Previously, the submarines, you sailed around on the surface all the time, unless something was about to spot you. There was nothing to fear to sail around on the surface because you outspotted everything, so you would just sail around spotting DDs and stuff all the time, which was obviously pretty ridiculous because it makes life for the DDs so damn hard. So making the subs more of a stationary turret when they come to the surface, I actually quite like that. Launch out a torpedo because the Farragut was spotted, seeing if I can get an underwater ping on him. I whiff. It's actually quite hard. Then the sub shows up as well. I'm gonna ping him instead, and I do land a ping on him. I'm gonna try to get a second ping, or maybe a second set of torpedoes out. He dodges, he dives, and dodges the torpedoes. I'm really sad the camera is kind of bugging out on this replay, because obviously in the real game this does not happen. I get a double lock on and I launch another set of torpedoes. They are turning to track him. You can see the way they're turning for him. I have a double ping on him. Gonna see if I can refresh it. No, not enough lead. Will my drops get him? And they do. And I kill off another player in a submarine. Now, of course, the big threat is the fact that the Farragut might rush me, but the Farragut is worried about the Trento behind me, I assume, and he turns around and disengages. This is obviously quite lucky for me, because with my health pool, if he would drop depth charges, I would be in trouble. This is, by the way, what I mentioned, that pinging underwater on surface ships is much harder than pinging on the surface, because you gotta hit that hull, the underwater part of the hull, and just surfacing in general makes it much easier. I reverse to the surface, start recharging my battery. I'm gonna see if I can line up a ping on him. Dropping a set of torpedoes first. Going for the wide ping to make sure I get one. And my torpedoes have now turned tracking, and they are homing in on him. Gonna try to see if I can ping the back of his ship as well. No, his bow actually eats it. He's gonna dodge the first set, look the way the rear in. He tries to dodge. Oh, he dodges the first set. Can he dodge the second set as well? And normally what I do is I launch torps from both sides, and then I ping, and then the torpedoes basically cross-drop. He tries to dodge, tries to evade, but the homing torpedoes makes life kinda too easy, in my opinion, for the destroyer. And in this case, this would have been basically my Kraken in this game, which obviously is a bit ridiculous because, well, you shouldn't really... I barely played the class at all, and I can already see just how much power this class has because of these tracking torpedoes and because of, well, it's just a powerhouse, to put it simply. Trento spotted, dropping torps. Dropping a ping. Note that you eat HE splash damage or direct damage, and considering Sap doesn't have splash damage, I'm not really that afraid of his shells. He does shoot AP, I dive just in case. That was my back torpedo that I launched at him, hoping I could maybe nail him as I'm running away. But looks like there were no hits. There's the splash hits of, I think, the battleship trying to shoot me. The hydrophone is once again telling me there's a DD moving in from the left. There's torpedoes coming in from him as well. I need to be ready to dodge this. I turn in towards them and dive down. They almost nail me, but I do manage to barely dodge them. I launch torps as I spot the sub. I get a ping on his nose. Try to get a ping on his stern as well, but he's going nose in towards me. I launch a second set of torpedoes. He might be too close at this point. No, the first torpedo lands. But the second torpedo does not. I dodge his torpedoes by the looks of it, and now he's down to no health. And sadly, you can't really shoot underwater, so I have no way of actually dealing with him. My plan is to try to go past him and maybe gets stern torpedoes in on him. I have no energy, however. You see my battery is empty, which means I will not be able to ping him, so this will basically have to be a hip-fire torpedo. That torpedo doesn't exactly go where I wish it would, but I'm gonna surface to try to get some battery so I can maybe finish him off later. My team has obviously died off. It's just me and another submarine left. Now, he has launched tracking torpedoes on me, so I change my course and dive at the same time, hoping the elevation will help me, and they go just above me. And this is something that submarines seem to have some of the easiest time of dodging enemy torpedoes as well, compared to any other ship, which is a bit questionable. The sub disappears, and now there's a Trento here. I still don't have any pinging potential because I don't have the energy. I surface to try to get some quick energy. Trento shoots me, it's AP. Won't really do much because of no splash damage. I wonder how they're gonna address that, because the likes of Royal Navy cruisers and Italian cruisers are obviously kind of, well, basically out of luck because they have no way of dealing with the ship. Pensacola shoots HE and it's instantly huge damage. So I know I'm gonna have to dive soon before he reloads and launches another volley. I thought that was gonna be a ping, it was not, and suddenly the enemy sub pops up, so I'm gonna see if I can get a ping on the sub instead. And I do get a ping on the sub, and that's even better because he's a much bigger threat. I dive to make sure the Pensa doesn't finish me off, hoping my tracking torps will finish off that submarine that tried to run off. Going for the pings. Oh, you can barely see it. Please, camera, stop bugging. I used the last of my energy to try to get some pings on that enemy submarine, and it actually pays off. My torpedoes finish off the final human player. So now we're up against bots, but these are of course not the normal bots that you have. These are the intelligent bots that Wargaming, well, they tried to introduce them to the game, but people started losing so much in co-op that they decided to cancel it, because people were not having a good time fighting these bots because they lost too much. So Wargaming pulled them back. I lock on, but I think I'm too close, and the torpedoes look like they go underneath the Trento. He's only 2.2 kilometers away, and yeah, you can see the torpedoes, I think they went underneath him. They didn't rise high enough to actually kill him. I'm gonna go for another attempt. Do they curve enough to the surface? And I think he dodged, and they kind of looked like they went underneath as well. Now, of course, I'm in significant trouble, but on the other hand, both of these cruisers are heavy cruisers, which means they don't have any depth charges. I surface briefly, try to get some energy, and then I dive before any secondaries or Pensacola shells can kill me. A lot of splash damage around me, but I'm still alive. I popped T by reflex, but then I remembered, of course, they've only introduced depth charges to the light cruisers, not to the heavy cruisers. I have managed to get undetected, because, well, once their hydro runs out, they don't really have any way of tracking me. So they don't really have any way of dealing with me either, and I can see a lot of frustrating endgame situations where this happens, especially because on PTS, I don't know if this is a warning of things to come, but on PTS, RPF has been removed from the captain perks. There is no more RPF. I ping him while underwater, I surface to drop some torpedoes, and then I instantly dive again. So I made sure I had lock on, I used my stern torpedoes, and now get a second ping on him while underwater, and the torpedoes home in and finish him off with a double citadel. That's, by the way, what I mentioned with the double ping. You ignore the torpedo protection and you score citadels, which I find kind of filthy. And honestly, good players will be pulling off stuff like that a lot in this game. And for a cruiser, or basically any other class, that's gonna be really frustrating to not really have any way of dealing with it. Surface to get some energy, Pensacola gets some splash damage, I'm down to 277 health, but the problem is I need to get a kill because there's only 1 minute remaining and they have the points advantage. Killing the Pensacola is gonna be iffy, he's so close, I don't think my torpedoes can basically rise up to the surface fast enough. So my goal is to go for the Normandy in the back. But yeah, RPF is actually gone on PTS. I don't know if it's because they don't want RPF skewing with the results. People have an easier time tracking submarines using RPF. Or if it's because they are planning on just removing the skill later on. But regardless, RPF does not exist on this TST server right now. RPF is gone. I hope to get a ping, but I actually whiffed the ping. Now I'm out of energy. Some secondaries start a fire on me. I have the damage con it. My torpedoes will hit the island. I don't have any way of getting energy right now. I'm going to see if I can do my stern torpedo trick on the Pensacola. But no such luck. His secondaries instantly shredded me. But the time was running out anyway, so I had to do some sort of desperation maneuvers. The game ends. 52,000 damage. Not that much, but it was tier 6 with a lot of light ships, aka DDs and submarines. 12 torpedoes, 7 kills, and I did cap center as well. Team score wise, well, 1.8k base. The submarines mostly at the top, but then of course they were mostly the human players as well. Detailed report wise, we managed to take down Subtest 3709, 3246 and 1127. I have no idea who these players were, but we killed off all the enemy submarines. So I can see, well, first of all, skill playing a really big role in utilizing the hydrophone, utilizing the pings, and just the way you curve your torpedoes to make it hard to dodge. But that doesn't mean that these things like these subs are anywhere near release. I mentioned the radar issue, or basically the pinging, keeping ships tracking spotted, as a huge issue because it's basically a permanent radar on anyone and in any sort, and it's just going to break the game for many DDs or just any ship that wants to get undetected. It's just going to break the game for them. But the torpedoes in general, well, they are kind of game breaking as well. Here I am surfacing. I see a Queen Elizabeth is pushing towards the cap. My torps are just about to reload. I have DDs in front of me to scout, so I don't get rushed or anything. I drop 2 sets of torps. Note how I drop on both sides, so if he tries to dodge, he basically gets cross-torped. And then I send a ping out, getting a ping on his nose. And then I switch to the narrow version of the ping, and I ping his stern. Now we got homing, armor ignoring, or torpedo protection ignoring torpedoes. And then I just keep him pinged to make sure life really, really difficult for him. Now, if this was, you see how the torpedoes are converging on him. So obviously, now I assume he's gonna turn in to dodge them. But what's really strange here is the amount of damage, because this guy, he tries to, well, it's a bot, but he angles in against the torpedoes, tries his best to dodge. But even then, double citadel, gigantic damage. Like, that is monstrous damage for a tier 6, and how the hell is anything gonna try to push into this kind of torpedo power? It's suicide. And it's not just pushing in, it's in general trying to avoid these torps. Like, there's a Bayerner there. I send out my 2 sets of torps. I use the fast ping on the nose. Oh, not enough lead. I think at this point I might not even have known how to use the fast ping. Or use the wide ping. I thought there was only one type of ping, so I was kind of struggling landing these torpedoes, or landing these pings. But we're on the surface, so we recharge so much energy that you can basically ping forever. Ping, 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 ping all the time. Yes, I will be spotted on the minimap and all of that, but there's not really too much of a danger here. My torpedoes are still traveling. I finally get a ping. Nice. Torpedoes turned into homing, and now we're gonna go for the stern. Nice. We got both the homing and the armor ignoring. Now that was a lot of whiffed pings. That was a lot of misplays. And the Bayern actually reacts as any human player actually would. Oh shit, I got pinged. Let's turn away. Let's make a U-turn. But look at the speed of these torpedoes. Look at how they curve. And then look at the damage. I could easily see any human actually succumbing to that similar situation where he tries his utmost, but there is literally nothing he can do. And now you might say, but Flamu, that was a battleship. No big deal. Like, who cares? It was a battleship. Like, of course they're not going to be able to dodge. But the thing is, these torpedoes are just stupid. The way they curve. This is an example. I'm going for the Gnevny. I think here I didn't know about the wide ping either, which makes life a lot easier. I don't know why it needs to be. Oh no, I did. I actually switched to the wide ping here to make sure I get the ping. And there we go. We got the nose ping. And the torpedoes start curving. And once again, I could easily see any DD player start maneuvering, start dodging, start turning away. Look at the handling of these torpedoes. Like, look at the way they handle in the water. Look at that left one. The way it curves in as it tries to dodge and finishes him off. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely laughably stupid. And it's not just bad players dying to it. I'm pushing in here. I kill off a Leander player. These are torpedoes without tracking. So I'm able to stop and slow down and dodge them. I finish off the Leander. I damage con the fire, whatever. You can see the pings on the water. That's what they look like when a sub is pinging you. And I start shooting the grounded Gepard. I'm going full speed, even though the UI is kind of bugging. And I have Hydra active. Torpedoes come in. I instantly try to swing left to dodge them. And look at the way they curve! That insane curve! There are absolutely no chance of a Dallas that is kind of supposed to be the counter. Absolutely no chance of actually killing them. So, the current state of submarines is just insane. I mean, they are way too good. The ping is basically a broken perma radar. They have so much utility, and not having oxygen means you can basically stay underwater forever. You can just move across the map underwater. If they're actually removing RPF, it's gonna make it even harder to deal with them. And the torpedoes, the damage is nuts, and the way they curve and handle like these missiles, it is way too much. Positive sides. Sub versus sub combat is awesome. I really love this addition. Being actually able to kill other submarines is really nice. I love this kind of knife fight underwater. I think it's really cool. I love the visuals. Art department once again carrying hard. Art department of World Warships is amazing. But holy crap, is there still a lot of work to do. I tried playing a battleship on the test server, and let me tell you, when the subs start hunting you, you do not have a fun time playing World of Warships. Anyways, that was all for me. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you feel like dropping a sub to the channel, I would appreciate it a ton, since I really appreciate the support. And as always, if you can be asked to drop a follow on Twitch as well, I would love that as well. Thank you guys for watching, and I will talk to you guys later.